Okay, so I had a little technical glitch there and I lost Chester. She has disappeared upstairs. So welcome everyone. Um, another week and another week of gyms in Toronto being closed, but that's okay because we can work out at home. We can do our handstands at home, some body weight training at home, move, feel good, and all that stuff. So a few tips before we get started about working out at home. Not all of you have an amazing garage gym like I do, so I'm very fortunate. But it can really help just to even have, sometimes I work out inside when it gets really cold in the winter, and it can really help me just to have a space that I'm like, this is my gym area. And most of the time it's not my gym area, but when I put my gym mat down, when I put this mat on the floor, that's my gym area. And so it's a dedicated space for that. And it just feels a little different than when I'm usually just lying on the couch with the remote control. So having a dedicated space can really help. Giving yourself the time actually to work out and not worry about all the other stuff that you normally do at home. So like, don't try and prepare the dinner while you're also working out, or don't try and like, oh, you hear the laundry go off, go and get that while you're in the middle of your workout. Like, just let yourself have your workout. When you're at the gym, you have that time. So let yourself work out and then you can do the household chores another time. My third tip is it doesn't have to be super hardcore or super complicated. Some simple bodyweight squats, pistol squats, Cossack squats, like all the variations, some push-ups, some core work, some handstands. Just move, have some fun, and you'll be back at the gym with the weights and all the cool equipment before you know it. So today's class, we're going to focus on pushing and increasing the push for your handstand. A quick warning before we get started. I did this routine yesterday before I did my handstand workout, and my handstands were, I don't want to be too show off here, but my handstands were really good. So expect that your handstands might be really good but at the end of this, so you've been warned. Let's get started. Chester might join us at some point, but you never know. Start with our hands on the floor. So again, we're going to focus on that active hand position. So you want to have the contact with the palm of your hand on the floor. So heel of your hand down on the floor. This knuckle area where your calluses are, you want that pressed into the floor. And then you want your fingers slightly bent and the tips of your fingers pressed into the floor. So that's like getting all that contact on the floor. Okay, that creates a nice foundation, a nice support. Then you're going to push down and gently rotate your hands into the floor. So as if you're trying to unscrew two jars, and you're going to feel that come all the way up your arm to your shoulder, and that sets up everything in the chain. So from your hands all the way up to your shoulders. So that's our position for a handstand. That's how we're going to do our wrist warm-up. So pushing down, we're going to lean forward, get a little bit of a stretch, and then just gently rocking back and forward. Chester, you going to say hi? Come say hi. Not even the catnip is tempting her to come say hi. So we're just gently rocking back and forward. Now we're going to make it a little bit more active. So as you lean forward, you're going to press your fingers into the floor and come back. So leaning forward, press, and come back. Hi, Susanna. I don't normally see people, but hi, Susanna. It's really nice to see you. Take care of your wrists if you're joining in. A lot of this you'll be able to do though, Susanna, so just go really gentle. Good, so we're leaning forward, keeping the heel of our hand down, and then pressing to move back. And that just helps build up that strength that you need to start using your hands for balance. I'm going to turn your hands out to the side. Same thing, pushing into the floor, feeling all that contact, feeling your fingers gripping the floor, and then just pushing side to side. So your warm-ups, it's a great time to really start using your hands, using your fingers, learning all about the control and strength that they have for when you're bouncing upside down. Good, and then you're going to turn your hands to face your knees. Again, this one can be a little intense. So my hands are quite far out, but you can place your hands a little closer to your legs if you need to. And you're just going to sit back and get that nice stretch all the way up this side of your arms. And you want to warm up your hands and wrists in different positions, because when you're doing your handstand, it's dynamic. You're going to be moving, you're going to be bailing, cartwheeling out. So you want to get stretch up in all directions. And then sit back even further. Peel your hands off the floor. Good. I will save this for later. So those of you who want to do it for later, it will be on my IGTV later. So turn your hands over. You're going to go back to your hands on the floor and press down. So you can come back. There's another 2 classes that I did, one earlier this week and one last week. So those are both on there for you guys. You can follow along whenever you want. So back to your hands on the floor, just stretching out. This is great for while you're doing your handstand practice as well, to come back to this one, because we can get very, spending a lot of time pushing in that direction, our wrists can get a little sore, so we can come back in this direction. Whoever keeps sending me a request to join the live video, I'm not going to let you join, so sorry. Maybe another time. Awesome. So shake your wrists out, shake your fingers out. Let's move in onto our shoulders, because our shoulders are what's really going to help us with the push. Now, I forgot to mention that a couple of things would be useful. One of them is a foam roller. So if you have a foam roller, you can grab that now. If you don't, I'm going to show you how you can do something without a foam roller. So all we're going to do to start with is a little bit of soft tissue work on like lats, serratus, all this tissue under our arm, which really can prevent us from getting into that really good push position. So if you have the foam roller, you can do a lacrosse ball or any mobility tool as well here. Okay, so if you have the foam roller, just get on that and you're going to gently roll back and forward. And this is a bit more of an active foam rolling than you would do post-workout, where you might just kind of chill out. You're trying to relax a little more. Here we're trying to get these muscles working a little better, wake things up a little bit. So you're just going to roll around, see what feels good for you. If you don't have the foam roller, you can just use your fingers, do a little bit of massage on that area under your arm, kind of down the side here, and find those spots and just kind of rub gently in those areas. For those of you who have the foam roller, you can switch to the other side. I'll show you a different angle. Chester is slobbered all over my mat while she was eating that catnip, so rolling back and forward. I'm sure those of you with cats can relate to having to work out on all the cat leftovers, cat hair, catnip. So just rolling back and forward. Good, and I do like between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, just depending on how I feel. So you can put the foam roller to the side now, and we're going to move on to a few exercises for our shoulders. So the first one is going to be a protraction exercise. So this is one that I learned from Kate Galliot. So if you follow her on Instagram, you want to check out the Unbreakable Body. And we created a handstand program together called Handstand Building Blocks. And this is one of the exercises that she taught me. And it really helps stretch you through here into a better protracted position. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this is my left hand. I'm going to grab onto the outside edge of my right foot. Now for some people, it's more comfortable to grab the inside edge, and that's okay. I find grabbing onto the left side just gets a little more, onto the outside side, just gets a little more stretch through there. So if you can grab the outside, if you can't, it's okay to grab on this inside. So in this position, what you're going to do is you're going to use your foot to push your arm forward and pull your shoulder blade around the side here. And you should feel a little bit of a stretch through here, maybe a little bit through some of the muscles around your shoulder blade, but we're getting into that nice protracted position. So we're just going to hold this for 30 seconds. And then you're going to try and pull back. So we're using these muscles here, the same ones we're stretching. We're going to pull as if I'm trying to pull my foot towards my face, but I'm not going to really let it come too close. Keeping that pressure with my foot. Then you're going to relax and see if you can go a little bit further. So push your foot a little further out. Yeah, it feels really good. And this will really help if you're doing like push-ups, planche training. It'll really help you get into a more protracted position. So let's try the other side. So you can bring that down. You're going to grab the outside edge of the other foot. So this is now my right arm grabbing the outside edge of my left foot. And I'm just going to push forward using my foot. Now some people say they don't feel this stretch and then their leg's a little too high. So try and keep that leg low to the ground. Also different body proportions. You're going to feel either your leg might be really bent, or you might be almost straight and not feeling much of a stretch. If you're not feeling much of a stretch and your leg is almost straight, you can take your leg out to the side a little bit, and that can get even more of a stretch across there. But for me, it's perfectly fine. You can see I've still got a bit of a bend in the leg. I've got a little ways to go. So we're going to pull this back now. So pulling. So I'm trying to pull my foot towards me. And then relax, slowly release that contraction that you're holding here. And then push your foot a little further away. So getting that nice stretch around here. Good, okay, let go there. Shake out your shoulders. We're gonna go into a couple of exercises now to kind of get those muscles in our back working a little better for pushing in our handstands. So this first one, I call it the chicken wing exercise, but I'm not sure what its actual name is. And again, this is another one that's in our handstand building blocks programs that I learned from Kate Galliot. So you're going to set up for this one by placing your hands, fingers, and thumb in a diamond shape, placing that on the floor. And that's just going to give you, tell you where to put your hands. So you want to place your hands where if you put your head down, your forehead would be. So that's where my hands are going to go. So my hands are not out here or in here. So they're right where my forehead would be. Then my elbows, you don't want them right out to the side. You don't want them right in. You want them kind of in the middle position. So about 45-degree angle. So you've got your hands in that diamond, your elbows out at 45 degrees. And we're going to do two actions here. So the first action is as if I'm just pushing down into the floor. So I'm pushing my hands and pushing my elbows like in a vertical down direction. So I'm pushing down. And then the second action I'm going to take is going to try and pull my elbows towards my hips. So I'm like pulling in this direction. So I'm pushing down and then I'm pulling my elbows towards my hips. And you should feel this kind of in the middle of your back somewhere. So we're pulling down and we're just going to hold that for about 10 seconds. And then you can slowly release that. And we're going to do 4 reps. So pushing down into the floor and then pulling back with your elbows. And relax. 2 more. Push down and pull. You want to be able to breathe as well while you're doing this. And relax. One more. Push down. And pull your elbows as if you're trying to drive your elbows towards your hips. Okay, fantastic. That one feels really good. You might be feeling that a little bit in your triceps as well as those muscles in your back. So don't be surprised if you're feeling that there. Next one we're gonna move into is a pushback exercise. And this is a really great for strengthening these muscles here. So your serratus anterior really helps you push into that protracted position. So we're gonna be doing this pushback exercise. So the basic idea here is we're starting on our hands and knees. And rather than my hands being directly beneath my shoulders, I'm going to place my hands slightly in front of my shoulders. So if you see from the side, my hands are slightly in front of my shoulders. And then what I'm going to do from this position is I'm going to push the floor away. So I'm pushing the floor in that direction. So I'm pushing, and as I push, I feel that push through here. I'm pushing into that protracted position that we just worked on, and I'm pushing myself back. Okay, so I'll show from this angle. So our hands are slightly in front of our shoulders. Your chin's in a neutral position, and then you're going to push back. And you really want to feel this through here as well as through like your pecs. You don't just want to feel like all the push is coming from the front here. You really want to feel like that push is coming from all the muscles around here. So you get that nice push back and then come forward. We're going to do again 4 sets of 10 seconds. So head in that neutral position, pushing back. Really as if you're trying to push the floor down and forward. Good, and come forward. And 2 more. So pushing. So you can progress this exercise, this pushing exercise, into variations where you're then pulling one hand off the floor. And then eventually you can move that into an inchworm, which is a fairly challenging movement if you're doing it in this nice hollow position. So I think we have 1 more rep for 10 seconds. So pushing back. One of my many flaws is that when I'm working out, I have like a very limited ability to count reps and sets. So I might be completely under working out or I might be over working out. I never know. Good. Okay. Relax that there. Our shoulders should be working really well now. Ready to push for a handstand. Let's just do a quick arm circle. A few arm circles to get our arms moving through the range that we need for our handstand. And then we're going to get into a few specific handstand exercises. So I can shake that out. So I said today you're going to, if you got my email, I said a foam roller and a chair or box or bench. So if you have a chair, box or bench, now would be a good time to grab that. You want to make sure it's stable. So if it's something that might move, you want to set it up against the wall. If you don't have it, it's absolutely fine. I'll show you some variations you can do right now without it. So the first thing we're going to do before we even use the chair is we're going to work on the direction of our push. So all we're going to do is go on our hands and knees and place our hands on the floor. So again, just as we were doing in the warm-up, for those of you who missed the warm-up, I talked about all the points of contact with your hands on the floor. So you want to feel pressure on the heel of your hand on this side, the heel of your hand here, as well as on this area here where your calluses are. So you want to feel all that contact with the floor, and then you want to feel the tips of your fingers on the floor, your fingers slightly bent so you can grip. So we really want to feel that contact with the floor. And then you want to think about pushing straight down. So almost as if the floor was movable, you could move the floor by pushing down. And you want to feel that push, right? If you just push in the heel of your hands, it's going to move your shoulders back. Okay, so you want to feel that the push is the heel of your hands pushing down, but also that knuckle area where your calluses are. So you want to push that down. Hi, Aspa. I like thanks for the cats. So pushing that down. So we're pushing into the floor. And then you're going to keep your shoulders over your hands, so stacked in alignment. So it goes my hands, the middle of the palm of my hands, my shoulders are right on top. I'm pushing down both through the heel of the hands and the knuckles. And then I'm going to just bring my body up. Now the goal here is not to get all the weight on your hands. The goal is to keep your shoulders stacked over your hands and then get your body up as high as you can. So I can get more weight on my hands by doing this, but you'll notice now I've lost the alignment of my shoulders. Okay, so the first thing we want to keep in mind is alignment, and then try and get your body up. So we're going to do that one more time, and I just want to remind you the focus of this is pushing the floor away from you. So we get that contact on the floor. We're pushing straight down as if we're trying to move the floor. And then we bring our body up and we keep pushing in that same direction. So we keep pushing straight down and we feel that the floor pushes us straight up. Okay, someone was asking me the other day, when I kick up to handstand, if I'm pushing down, does the floor not push me back that way? And that only pushes you back that way if you're pushing the floor that way. So if I'm pushing all with the heel of my hands, right, when I kick up, it might move me backwards because I'm pushing in that direction. But if I'm pushing straight down, the floor is going to push me in the opposite direction. Okay, so it's going to push me straight up. Okay, I went a little bit too much into that, but never mind. I'm going to bring my bench over. So grab a chair if you have one. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. So a chair, a bench, a box, something that you can place your feet on. So for this next exercise, this is a progression for a wall walk handstand. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in a plank position and we're going to push exactly the same. We're pushing straight down into the floor. So you're pushing down and then we're going to shift your weight to one arm, step the other arm in. Shift your weight, step the other arm in. As you're walking your hands in, you're going to be your butt's going to come up in the air to a pike handstand. So I'm going to demonstrate this from this angle and then I'll demonstrate from another angle. So you're starting in a plank position. Okay, body nice and tight. You can have your feet slightly apart if that helps. And then you're going to push and step your hand in. And you want to try and find a position where you can feel that you've got hands, shoulders, and butt in one line. Okay? Now, if you have to keep your legs bent because of flexibility, that's fine. But if you can, just give this a try. Walk your hands in, keep your shoulders over your hands, and I'm going to show this from another angle. I want to set up in an angle where I don't give you guys just put my butt in the camera, okay? So from here, I'm shifting my weight to one arm, shifting my weight, shifting, walking up until I'm in that pike handstand, pushing straight down into the floor. So you can see this is me not pushing, this is me pushing. And then we'll come back out. Cool. So we can stretch out our wrists a little. This time we're going to add one little thing to this. If you're feeling confident with this pike handstand, what we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg. So when you get to the top of that pike handstand, you're going to keep one foot on the bench and you're going to try and bring the other leg vertical. So Let me see if I can get, okay, so let's try this angle. So my hands are here, I'm pushing down into the floor, taking those steps, push, really pushing through my shoulder each time I step. Once I get to that pike handstand, I want to feel that I've got my hands, my shoulders stacked in that line, maybe my hips, and then I'm going to push down as hard as I can and feel my shoulders move away from the floor. Okay, so this is me not pushing, this is me pushing. If you feel comfortable here, you can bring one leg up. This might require a bit more flexibility than you have, so your leg might be here. That's okay. And come back down. So with all these exercises, just work with the flexibility that you have, and don't worry if you're not able to get into the same position that I'm getting into. This is something I talk about a lot in my Master the Handstand program with inverted G. So if you guys don't follow inverted G, as soon as you get off this, that's what I recommend you go do, because she is the most lovely person, but also an amazing handstand coach. So she helps me with the Master the Handstand coaching group. And one thing we say all the time is, don't worry if it doesn't look like we look in the videos, okay? Figure out how to do the exercise in a way that works really well for your body. So we're just gonna finish off with a couple of wrist stretches. If you wanna now do some more handstand skill work, Chester's saying it's almost time to finish. Come here, Chester. Come on, show them the wrist exercise, come here. Oh, she stopped halfway to lick herself. So we're just gonna stretch the backs of your hand on the floor, stretch that out. I find that post handstand wrist stretching is the best way for me to be able to do handstands the next day. So we stretch this one out as well. Normally I would be a little more focused on my wrist recovery work, but Chester's a little demanding right now. Okay, so we'll finish up there. You guys can go do some more handstand work. If you are able to do some freestanding work, your balance might be really good, your shoulders should be really stable, and you might get some really good holds. So let me know if you did. Chester is gonna say bye. Don't even look at the camera. Okay, Chester's gonna work on our Instagram live. Okay, thank you guys, that was wonderful. This will be available in my IGTV later, so if you need to check anything out. Okay, thank you so much.